6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madavala, read by Soundi Thavam. The 12th phase of the Gamma Samaga Pilisandra program will be held in Trincomalee today under the patronage of the President. The Zonal Export Village program will be inaugurated today. Many countries extend their support to Sri Lanka in the OHCHR report. The central bank bond scam marks 6 years today. In world news, climate change, carbon emission promises put Earth on red alert. The 12th phase of the Gamma Samaga Pilisandra program of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's Vistas of Prosperity Policy Manifesto will be held in Trincomalee today. It will be conducted in the Adamban village in the Gomarang-Kadawala Divisional Secretariat area under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. This village faces huge problems with wild elephants. People in this area have several issues like drinking water problems and land issues. District Secretary of the Trincomalee area, Saman Dashana, said that people are keen to raise their problems to the President. Several ministers and government officials will participate in this program. The Zonal Export Village program will be inaugurated today under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. It will be held after a special program which is scheduled to be held at the Kasagala Viharaya in Hambantota. The aim of the program is to cultivate at least 500 acres of minor export crops in a single village. The government's aim is to set up 9 export development zones covering all 9 provinces. China's permanent representative in Geneva, Ambassador Chen Zhu, has extended China's strong support to Sri Lanka in his official statement in the interactive dialogue on the OHCHR report on Sri Lanka during the 46th session of the Human Rights Council. In his statement, China's permanent representative in Geneva says that as a friendly neighbor of Sri Lanka, China sincerely hopes that Sri Lanka maintains political stability, ethnic solidarity and national unity and wishes Sri Lanka greater achievements in its national development. Quote, "We commend the government of Sri Lanka for its efforts to actively promote and protect human rights, advance sustainable economic and social development, improve people's living standard, protect the rights of the vulnerable groups, advance national reconciliation and combat terrorism. It's the consistent stand of China to oppose the politicization and double standards on human rights, as well as using human rights as an excuse in interfering in other countries' internal affairs. We are concerned about the clear lack of impartiality shown in the OHCHR's report to this session on Sri Lanka and express our regret over the failure of the OHCHR to use the authoritative information provided by the Sri Lankan government," unquote. The United States has urged Sri Lanka to make a public strategy and timetable for the implementation of recommendations in the report compiled by the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet. Daniel Cronenfeld of the US mission in Geneva informed the UN Human Rights Council that the United States shares the concerns of the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights on Sri Lanka. His comments came during the interactive dialogue on the High Commissioner's presentation of Sri Lanka recently. Cronenfeld stressed that the US is concerned by accounts of increasing marginalization of minority communities and shrinking space for civil society, including independent media. The US envoy insisted that the Sri Lankan government's efforts to address concerns raised in the OHCHR's report via a domestic process needs to be meaningful and credible. During the interactive dialogue, 15 countries, including the USA, United Kingdom, France, Switzerland, Norway, Canada, Belgium, the Netherlands and Ireland welcomed the recommendations in the UN Human Rights Chief's report against Sri Lanka. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Today marks 6 years of the central bank bond scam. On the 27th of February 2015, the newly appointed Good Governance government advertised a bond issue. It was alleged to have caused losses of more than 700 million rupees. A committee appointed by then-President Maithripala Sirisena revealed that the central bank had given around half of the bonds to a private company called Perpetual Treasuries, which is owned by the son-in-law of the then-central bank governor Arjun Mahendran. That's local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The GCE Ordinary Level Examination 2020 will commence on Monday while adhering to COVID-19 health guidelines. In case any student sitting for the examination is found to be infected with COVID-19, arrangements have been made to set up at least 2 special examination centres in each district as a precautionary measure. Education Minister Professor G.L. Peiris said that steps have been taken to ensure the health of the students in consultation with the public health inspectors, medical officers and other health authorities in the respective areas. The GCE Ordinary Level 2020 examination will be held from March 1st to the 10th. A total of 622,352 candidates will sit for the exam. Of them, 423,746 school candidates and 198,606 private candidates. The examination will be conducted at 4,513 examination centres and 542 coordinating centres. Meanwhile, at the request of the Ministry of Education, the Railways and the Road Passenger Transport Authority have made special transport arrangements for the convenience of students during the examination period.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, the Director General of Samurdhi, Bandula Tilakasiri, said that the program to create 25,000 young women entrepreneurs has commenced. Members of low-income families have been selected for the program. The Samurdhi Director General said that the aim of the program is to provide essential consumer goods at fair prices to rural communities.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In world news headlines, the US says Saudi prince approved Jamal Khashoggi killing. Climate change, carbon emission promises put Earth on red alert. An Israel study finds Pfizer jab effective in all ages. A US intelligence report has found that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved the murder of exiled Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. The report released by the Biden administration says the prince approved a plan to either capture or kill Khashoggi. The US announced sanctions on dozens of Saudis, but not the prince himself. Saudi Arabia rejected the report, calling it negative, false and unacceptable. Crown Prince Mohammed, who is effectively the kingdom's ruler, has denied any role in the murder. Khashoggi was killed while visiting the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, and his body cut up. The world will heat by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius unless nations produce tougher policies, a global stocktake has confirmed. Governments must halve emissions by 2030 if they intend the Earth to stay within the safe threshold. But the latest set of national policies submitted to the UN shows emissions will merely be stabilized by 2030. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called it red alert for our planet. He said, quote, "It shows governments are nowhere close to the level of ambition needed to limit the climate change to 1.5 degrees Celsius and meet the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement," unquote. A study involving almost 1.2 million people in Israel has found that the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine was 94% effective at providing protection against symptomatic COVID-19 across all age groups above 16, 1 week or more after the second dose was administered. Researchers at Israel's Clalit Research Institute and Harvard University also reported that people were 57% less likely to get symptoms and 74% less likely to require hospital treatment 2 weeks after the first dose, according to a paper published by the New England Journal of Medicine. The results are in line with Pfizer's own trial, but one of the study chief's authors said it provided a scientifically validated real-world evidence of the effectiveness of the vaccine. Back to the headlines of the world news. The US says Saudi prince approved Jamal Khashoggi killing. Climate change, carbon emission promises put Earth on red alert. And an Israel study finds Pfizer jab effective in all ages. And that's world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
On to development news. The commander of the Southeastern Naval Area, Rear Admiral Jayant Gamage, declared open a new accommodation building for junior sailors at the SLNS Digayu. Following the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the construction work of this building was put up as a quarantine facility for junior sailors, commenced on the 26th of September 2020, going by the directives of the Navy headquarters. The building allows spacious accommodation and bathrooms to suit the quarantine process, and one of the objectives of having this building was to increase the accommodation facilities for junior sailors attached to the SLNS Digayu. The Command Civil Engineering Department undertook the construction of the building, which was ceremonially opened by the area commander on the 24th of February. That's development news, and on to sports. Umar Akmal's 18-month ban has been slashed by 6 months by the Court of Arbitration for Sports, making him eligible to return to representative cricket, as the PCB had originally suspended him on February 20th last year. According to the PCB, though the integration is subject to the cricketer paying a fine of 4.25 million Pakistan rupees and taking part in the program of rehabilitation under the board's anti-corruption code. The changes and the charges came under Article 2.44, which deals with failing to disclose to the PCB Vigilance and Security Department full details of any approaches or invitations received by the participant to engage in corrupt conduct under this anti-corruption code.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Sri Lanka Coconut Cultivators Association and the Silinco Insurance Company, under the guidance of the Coconut Development Authority, jointly launched a special insurance scheme for the sector, which is a first for Sri Lanka. Under this novel insurance program, Silinco Insurance proposes to compensate and provide a sustainable insurance solution to coconut cultivators for damage caused in various ways to their cultivation. Quote, this novel scheme also strives to ensure the acquisition of a maximum harvest of quality and through that to increase the local coconut growers' income, unquote.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down. Everything is sorted. Why? I have my LOLC World Card with me. We're at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Flights between India and Sri Lanka will be resumed as soon as possible under the air bubble concept. The decision was taken during a discussion between Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga and the Indian High Commissioner Gopal Bagle in order to boost tourism between the two countries. It was the Indian government which forwarded the proposal for an arrangement of an air travel bubble between the two countries. The authorities from both countries have discussed the possibility of commencing flights under the air travel bubble concept, adhering to health and safety guidelines to prevent the spread of COVID-19. During the discussion, the resumption of development work of the Palali International Airport was also highlighted.
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
In the weather report, showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the Ratnapura, Gaul and Matara districts during the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamu, Uva and western provinces and in the Gaul and Matara districts during the morning. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The 12th phase of the Gamma Samaga Pilisandra program will be held in Trincomalee today under the patronage of the President. The Zonal Export Village program will be inaugurated today. Many countries extend their support to Sri Lanka in the OHCHR report. The central bank bond scam marks 6 years today. And on climate change, carbon emission promises put Earth on red alert. That concludes this morning's news broadcast. And now it's back to your host across the glass pane, MW Mario Vijayavardhana, our cool as cucumber friend, to keep you well entertained this Saturday morning. Good morning, Mario, and it's all yours.